Hi everyone, it's Tracy here from Art Fibre Stitch. Today we're looking at hand sewing, starting to stitch. Slow stitching means no judgment, no plan, just some mindful making. Spend some time in the moment and find your calm place. So let's get started. Some of you have never sewn before. Let's just start at the beginning, just in case. You would need a piece of fabric. Now I've got two pieces here, one's a dark and one's a light. I'm just getting it out to show you that, see on those dark ones, I really would need something light to show up on that. I'll put it aside and I'm going to use this light one. You can use old clothing, rags, whatever you like. I've grabbed out some different cottons. And what else would I need? Well, I'd need a needle and I would need some snips. That's basically it. So what I'm looking at here is different threads. Now you can just use sewing thread from a sewing machine. What I'm looking at here is I have some stranded cotton. It comes with 6 strands all together and you can separate how many you want out. I have some crochet cotton, some pearl cotton. You'll figure it out. It really doesn't matter. If it's too thin, add a couple of strands. And like I say, if you don't have anything, you can just use the good old cotton reel and use a couple of strands of that, I would think, to make it show up. So fabric, thread, and the third thing would be a needle to be able to sew with. Now, I don't get terribly fussy about needles. I want a point on it so that it'll go through. Oh, and you would need some scissors. That's the lot. But needles, let's talk about needles. It is good enough to just have a point on it and a hole that's large enough for you to thread your thread through. But let's stitch. I'm going to use this dark one and just see if we can see the stitching on it easier. Oh yeah, that shows up. And I get a length of thread and I start. I really like using something with a large enough needle for me to see. Thread your needle by pinching it like that, putting it through the eye and pulling it through. If it doesn't want to go, maybe it's become frayed or something, you can always give it a snip or a bit of a wet with your licked fingers. You can do a knot like this and bring it up from behind and that will anchor it. You don't want your stitches to come undone. Or you can just go behind and do 2 little stitches on top of each other. Now what I wanted to show you, stitching. Basically you always start behind and you anchor it some way. You've got your needle and your thread and you go down, and wherever you have gone down, you're underneath, your thread is underneath. When it comes up again, it's leaving a little gap in between. Do you see what I mean? I'll go further along. So that is a stitch. A bit cumbersome doing it like that. And I quite like to see where I'm going. So what I do is, let's come up again. And because I'm not very good at figuring out where my needle's going to come up, I prefer to do a stitch and then bring it up from underneath like that. And then pull it. See what I mean? I'm ready for the next. Now, I'm not going to any trouble here to make them even or neat, and I don't think it's important. The thing is that you're having fun. You're learning. There we go. We're just like that. Now, the other thing is, what else do I want to do? Do I want to be in line with these? Let me just see, with the gaps. Because every time I go underneath, it's leaving a gap. So I can choose to come back and do the same thing. And as you see, you'll have those gaps line up. That looks quite nice. Or you could do the opposite, bridging over that gap. And every time we have a stitch on the top side, we're going underneath and up again, pulling it through. So that's a totally different look, because we're staggering those this time. And it's quite nice to have a bit of a mix. Now you can have long and short, you can have big gaps. See the big stitches. Do what you like. I quite like to have the variety myself. Now the other thing I wanted to show you was that you can do a run of stitches like this. Can you see? I have went down, up, as you do, and then I pull it through. So I mean, you might want to do like 5 or 6 stitches, depending how well it pulls through, how thick your cotton is, whatever. There we go, 3. Let's see how that looks. So that can make it a whole lot easier, can't it? Oops. Now say you do this. I've come up. I meant to be going, I was up. I meant to go underneath, but I went around. Well, never fear. Just take it out of its needle and pull it out like that. Alright, so that's what slow stitching is. You might want to change colours, you might want to vary your stitching, the length, the gaps between that I'm doing. Can you see this is a much wider gap? Maybe instead of stopping there, I'm going to go all the way to the end. Maybe I'll use my running stitch like this. See, I'm pulling the fabric up, I'm pulling it down. See? And then when it happens that it's too much, I just pull it back. If it didn't go all the way back, I would say, okay, let's go here, and I'll pull it through a bit. Pull the thread back through. And now it's got no tension in it, and it sits flat. So that's basically it. We finish like that. I like to keep going until my threads run out, but just to show you the end, when you finish with one, on the back side again, you do 2 little stitches and a snip, and you're ready for something else. Oh, these scissors are dreadful. Alright, that's it. Slow stitching in a nutshell. But let's get back to this one. Can you see I've chosen a fabric that's got a bit of a pattern on it. I'm threading my needle with the pearl cotton, and I'm going to do the stitch here that I've already shown you. But this time I'm looking at those shapes that are already in here, and I'm doing a nice curve following the pattern on the fabric. Now this is all about not having a pattern as such, but using your own imagination as to where you want the lines. You know, it's all meant to be a creative project for you, something that you don't have to worry about, oh, I missed a stitch or anything like that. It's just to enjoy the doing of it. But if you're not happy to meander your way across a fabric, and you want to do some straight lines, for example, or maybe you want to do a perfect circle and work outwards from there. So in that case, you can use something else to your vital toolkit. We've got fabric, we've got thread, we've got needle, we've got snips or scissors, but you can also use this. So you can use tailor's chalk or a fabric marking pen that you can buy, and this one here, it'll mark, it'll stay there for a while, and you can use that as a line. I'm going to go around a cup, very badly I must say, but just to give you the idea, you could use a saucer, you could use different size cups if you want a circle. If you wanted a straight line, yes, let's not pay attention to that. If you wanted a straight line, you could use a ruler. I myself prefer to go freehand. So there we go, I'm marking a line there, and it will come out with a bit of water on a cloth or spray it or whatever. If it hasn't already disappeared over time, it will with the addition of some water. So the purpose of that is to be able to follow that line and you might want to draw, an outline of a cat or something and go around it and around it again, radiating out. Lots of things you can do. Just as long as you're flowing along and stitching, you'll find that it's very relaxing. It's a good idea to put down your phone and have a go at something like this instead. All right, there we have it. I think this one could end up quite nice. I'm just stitching along this line that I put in. Already I feel like it's a little bit lighter. And as I said, there's different things you can get. You can get tailor's chalk kind of thing. It's a chalky kind of pencil and has a brush on the other end. And oh, I'm going back now. You used to be able to get them. But there'll be some invention. Something that disappears. That's what you want. So that when you've finished, that line can be rubbed out, so to speak. Now see here, here's another little problem you might encounter. It's got a knot in it. So what I end up doing is I use my needle and I pull that loop that won't pull through. And it tends to pull the knot out, which is great. And then I'm free to go on my way. So I'm going to finish doing that around that arc there. And then I won't keep doing all the lines. I could, but I'm not very good at following patterns, following instructions. I just like to play. So let's have a closer look. There's that stitching. And the line is still there, but I can get rid of that. I'm just going to wet a rag now and give it a little wipe and see what that does. And you can see up here, it's already disappeared. So that's it. I hope you've enjoyed watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. And find some time for you. Find some time to relax and enjoy. If you have liked this video, I do have the facility for donations, and I do appreciate it. And I thank you again for watching. I'll see you next time. There's plenty to learn on my YouTube channel. Thank you.